I will call to order our regularly scheduled city council meeting of Monday, August the 18th, 2025 at approximately 7:03 p.m. First item on the agenda is the welcome. That's me. So welcome all of you here tonight, our department heads, our city administrator, our clerk, to council, our illustrious city attorney. Appreciate him being here also, keeping us straight, along with our citizens in the audience and anyone attending via Zoom. So appreciate y'all taking the time to come and participate in the process here in the city of Mauldin. Next item is our invocation, our pledge of allegiance. I believe that's Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All those who choose to join me in prayer, please bow your head at this time. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together this evening. Fill our hearts with your kindness, unite us with your love, and guide us to serve others with joy. May we do all these things that are pleasing to your glory and to you. It's in your name I pray. Amen. Stand for the pledge.
Flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. King. Would you like to make any remarks? Captain Phillip now, or you want to do it? Andy, okay. That'll work. All right, proclamation and presentations, we have none. Reading and approval of City Council meeting, the July the 21st, 2025. These have been in your packet since Thursday, so I hope you've had a chance to read them. Even though Robert's Rule of Order says that you can vote to accept minutes even if you didn't attend, I will go with the longstanding standards of this council and not vote on the minutes of July 21st since I was not present. So with that being said, you've had them in the agenda. Are there any corrections, adjustments, or comments about the 21st, July 21st? If not, I'll ask for unanimous consent. Those opposed, say aye. Hearing none, the motion is unanimous that we accept the minutes as submitted July the 21st, 2025. Next one is the special call session of August the 4th. Same routine. Any adjustments, comments, corrections? Hearing none, I ask for unanimous consent. Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are accepted as submitted for August. Last but not least, our August the 7th meeting was a workshop, workshop. Same thing, everybody was present. Any adjustments, corrections? Hearing none, I'll ask for unanimous consent. Those opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as submitted. Thank you, Council. Now we're coming to our first public comment period. I'm going to reread this. I think I recognize most of you have been here, so you should know, but just so we are clear on it, these are the council rules of as amended June 20, 2005. The mayor or majority council may suspend the strict observation of these rules and procedures and any applicable provisions or Robert's rules for the timely and orderly progression of the meeting. Now, addressing the council during a regular meeting, which is one we're getting ready to do with public comment. Any person to address the council must have filled out the speaker's log, which we now have before us. No one will be allowed to sign the speaker's log after the call to order, which we've done. Citizens will be allowed to speak on any matter other than personnel matters, and matters under litigation. You'll speak in the order that you're registered. I'll call your name. I'll ask you to come to the podium. Be sure the mic is on and is green. State your name and address. And then for tonight's length of speakers we have, we'll limit it to 3 minutes per person. And it cannot exceed 30 minutes for all citizen comments. Those items signed up for items not on the agenda will follow these same rules, but you'll have an opportunity to speak later on our agenda when we get to that. Direct your comments to the mayor, This is an opportunity for council to hear your comments. It is not a question and answer session. This is a business meeting. Proper decorum must be observed by members of council, by speakers, and by the audience. The mayor will keep control of the meeting and require the speakers and the audience to refrain from abusive, profane remarks, disruptive outbursts, applause, protest, or other conduct that disrupts or interferes with the orderly conduct of the business of the meeting. Personal attacks on city council members, city staff, or members of the public are not allowed. It is inappropriate to use the public hearing or the public comment period for the purposes of making political speeches, including threats of political action. Engaging in such conduct and failing to cease with such conduct on the request of the mayor will be grounds for ending speaker's time at the podium or for removal of any disruptive person from the meeting room at the direction of the mayor. That's all the official stuff I have to tell you. Unofficial, I'm going to tell you, most of us who've been in Mauldin for many, many years, this is a community. We treat each other with respect. We don't always agree, but each one is entitled to their comments and their opinions, and it should be done in a respectful manner, including this council. So with that being said, the next item on our agenda is public comments. The first person is Miss Mary Jones.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Mary Jones. I'm the owner of Swim Lessons with Mary, a local business that has served the upstate for over 12 years that I started when I was 15 years old. We've taught thousands of children and adults how to swim through our one-on-one program, including those with disabilities. I grew up here and I now employ a team of nearly 20 instructors who are passionate, talented, and work diligently to achieve our mission of drowning prevention. The one-on-one nature of my business provides a unique and necessary service to the community, and it's more than a business to me. And I'm here to find out today if Mauldin can be my business's permanent home. Tonight, the decision in front of you is strictly about land use and zoning. And throughout this process, for 7 months, we've carefully listened to every concern of the Meadowood neighborhood. Some are certainly valid and they were addressed in the city sponsored amendment, but others have nothing to do with the topic at hand. It has become clear that the neighborhood is largely opposed to any development of my land, despite having been zoned commercially for over 50 years, long before many of these homes were even built. At every step of the process, we have worked to address the neighborhood's concern to the best of our abilities, and the proposed amendment also accomplishes that. In many cases, it actually goes above and beyond what would reasonably be required on commercial land. Every protection has been written with the neighborhood in mind. Greater setbacks, driveway placement, additional screening, size limits, and operational capacities. These restrictions inhibit me as the land and business owner, and they're solely for the benefit of the neighbors. I've repeatedly shown my commitment towards finding a solution for that both benefits the business and the Meadowood neighborhood that we both can live with. This includes the driveway location on Meadowood Drive, which I'm committed to assessing all alternatives as SCDOT allows. Additionally, this amendment also provides a much needed update to the OD zoning. Most businesses currently operating in the OD zoning are healthcare providers, which is not currently allowed within the zoning as written today. In fact, one of these healthcare providers even has a pool inside the building that was approved by the city. The Planning Commission cannot produce the documentation for when this zoning was changed or when the healthcare providers were allowed within the OD. The proposed amendment will greatly fix the significant zoning inconsistencies across the city of Mauldin. The reality is that the land is going to be developed. If you as a council are only interested in addressing the neighborhood's concerns, then I believe that this proposed amendment is truly the best outcome. It provides the neighborhood with numerous protection and ensures a lower impact business will be developed on that site. Otherwise, the land and likely will be developed under the current zoning, which means a daycare, a bank, a school, or a fire station, or other high use impact businesses could go there and wouldn't require any additional approvals or consideration. I don't envy your duty as members of the city council. On top of your careers, you've committed countless hours to be here because you care about the future of Mauldin. Mauldin is clearly growing at a rapid pace, and my business seems to be one that would support and benefit the community here. I would love to be here. I ask that your decision tonight be made with all of Malden in mind, which includes, but is certainly not limited to, the Meadowood neighborhood. Um, I believe that this amendment is the best outcome for the neighborhood and for the city. It cleans up inconsistent zoning ordinances. It protects the neighborhood by taking into consideration their concerns of a very high impact business. And it allows my locally owned and low impact use case to be an asset to the community. The land is going to be developed. But the higher impact use cases would probably bring more people and a greater impact on the neighborhood and certainly more concerns. Thank you for your consideration.
Next is Tucker Jones. Okay, thank you, sir. Next on the list is Mr. Brandon White. Please state your name and your address, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Brandon White. I'm with Kimley Horn. Address is 421 Fayetteville Street, Suite 600, Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm here on behalf of First Citizens Bank on item 8A, which is the rezoning property on East Butler Road. Just wanted to make aware that we'll be available for questions and if council should have any. Thank you.
Jamie Mendez / son. Okay. Michael Yanover. Joe, music. All right.
Got music, right? Love it. Thank you. My name is Michael Yanover, 105 Meadowood Drive. And I'm here to speak in opposition to the OD district change. Obviously, I think everybody, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, before I begin, and members of the council, it's obviously been a very long process. We've had petitions, we have protests, we've shown up for a lot of the meetings. I think it's pretty well known, and I won't rehash all of the issues that we have potentially, but I wanted to just remind the council again and reiterate for my benefit and for the neighborhood's benefit that although it may have seemed that way, and I'm sure some of the comments in the past may have alluded to that or seemed that way, but at least in my opinion, and for a lot of us, this has never been about the business. I know that Ms. Mary here has mentioned that it seems like there's been some opposition to any business that goes there. The opposition has always been the change and the potential impact to our neighborhood. So again, for this meeting, we're in opposition to changes to OD because it does directly impact our neighborhood with the very likelihood of the entrance remaining. Fighting the South Carolina Department of Transportation is going to be difficult. With the entrance onto Meadowood, any change is going to impact our neighborhood significantly. It could, I should say, could significantly impact it. Regardless of what the zoning may have been on that land umpteen years ago, it has been OD for a long time. The fact that there are other businesses that were allowed in OD in the years past, I don't believe that that should be reason why you catch everything up to that precedent. Otherwise, things just keep running away with development. So I would say if mistakes, and I shouldn't necessarily say that, but for whatever the reasons are, those were approved, it should be left that those were approved, but it shouldn't mean that everything else has to come up to that level, especially with entrances onto Meadowood. Most ODs, almost all of the other ones, I don't know if there's one exception, maybe not, they don't directly abut a neighborhood with the entrance spilling traffic into it. I would like to remind everyone that the speech therapy business is also right next to it further down Meadowood into our neighborhood. So it impacts that lot as well. So if OD changes, again, I want to reiterate, I believe that their intentions are to build, but our position, and I would respectfully request that most of the discussion on this topic tonight, of course, I can't tell you what to talk about, but I would respectfully request that most of the discussion is based off of not the business itself, but the topic of rezoning and why it merits rezoning. I believe that the burden should be a little higher for changes to a zoning. The fact that someone bought it and becomes a landowner, I don't believe should be a primary driving force of rezoning it. It should still be, the default was that it's OD, it impacts our neighborhood, and it should be, have a little bit extra burden on that. So I would just like to reiterate We would request and respectfully request a motion to oppose. Thank you.
John Rainey, sorry.
Name is John Rainey. Live at 103 Wood Green Drive, Mauldin. To Miss Mary, she says that we are objecting to her business. No, we've objected to everyone that's tried to change the rezoning up there. We did this 15, 20 years ago. Had nothing to do with the gentleman himself. It was the idea of what he was trying to bring to our neighborhood, which we felt was going to impact our neighborhood significantly. Right now, the problem we have in our neighborhood is we have one retaining pond. It's not working, hadn't been fixed. Now we want to add another retaining pond. But in order to do all this, we got to change the rezoning. We are against the rezoning. That's what we are against, the rezoning of the property. A few years ago, that property was primarily, it was not OD, it was residential. When I moved into Meadowwood, that property was at residential then. I got the OD, I don't know on that part. But the thing of it is, we are standing saying, we don't want to change the zoning. This is what we are against. Not against her having her business or anything else like that, just not having the business there. We see the problems that's coming on. Meadowwood has one street in and one street out. There are 3 streets in that subdivision. We have 50 plus houses within that subdivision. And believe me, when all of us are trying to get out of there now, we have a problem. We don't need to add to our problems trying to get in and out of there. That's the only way in and the only way out. And I've seen Mauldin police chase someone down through there, and they didn't know it was one way. It was one way in and one way out. They destroyed one of our neighbors' houses and everything else. We're just trying to say this is going to be a problem for us. We see what's coming down because we've seen it before. I strongly recommend, I strongly ask, do not rezone the property. If we have to deal with something else later on down the road, we'll deal with it. But right now, we don't need this because of the problems, the potential problems that are going. We have a problem now with one retaining pond. We don't need to get a second one in there to cause problems. Thank you.
Sir. Selling next. Sorry if I butchered it.
Good evening. It's Jocelyn Nix. Okay. So first I'd like to ask, does the cart precede the horse or does the horse precede the cart? So zoning ordinance exists as the backbone of thoughtful community planning, providing a framework through which cities and towns can develop in a way that reflects both the current and future needs of the residents. These ordinances are not arbitrary. Rather, they are the product of years, sometimes decades of careful study, public input, and deliberation with the intent to foster the health and safety and welfare of all the members of that community. With this in mind, I stand here opposed to any proposed zone change that would accommodate land purchase for a purpose not permitted under the current zoning regulations for that area. Now, we've been here several meetings to change from one zoning restriction to another, and I honestly don't know where we landed, if we're someplace with modifications. But again, at the very core of zoning is the principle of predictability. Residents and businesses alike rely on established zoning maps and comprehensive plans to make informed decisions about where to buy homes, establish businesses, and build their lives. And changing the zoning of a parcel to suit the wishes of a new owner, regardless of who that is, especially when that purpose was not anticipated or allowed under existing regulations, undermines this predictability and erodes the trust between the city and the residents that reside in that city. It's the responsibility of individuals purchasing land to purchase, uh, ensuring that their intended use aligns with the existing zoning. To do otherwise is to speculate against the established norms of community development. Its zoning cannot and should not be retrofitted to accommodate after the fact aspirations, particularly when such changes risk destabilizing carefully balanced land use patterns. Um, Neighborhoods are shaped by the land use that surrounds them. Residential, commercial, agricultural, and industrial zones each carry unique characteristics that contribute to the overall feel, safety, and property values of a community. To change the zoning, which is what we are opposing, would impact all of that. Additionally, we need to have insurance that zoning regulations are designed to be applied consistently, not selectively. Allowing a zone change for the benefit of one property owner raises concern of fairness and equity. It sets a precedent that personal or financial interests can override the collective vision and standards of the community, opening the door to a cascade of similar requests. So again, I stand here opposed to the rezoning.
Denise Clark.
Good afternoon, Denise Clark, 108 Wood Green Drive. First, giving honor to God first, and may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable. I'd like to say that I am in agreement with all my constituents of the neighborhood, what they've said. We've went over and over again that this is not to the business, it's to the detriment. It's about the detriment of what this would cause our neighborhood. But somehow it's being misconstrued as we're not wanting to have anything built on those properties. No, we're wanting to have something built like houses. We've gave the suggestions of houses being built. We've had some of our members tell you that they have buyers that are ready. There's the ODIM, the change in the text amendment. We are all in agreement with. We are not wanting that because the text amendment is only allowing businesses to come in. It's taking out the very wording that says that the purpose of the OD was to protect the residents. Why would you take that out? Then add in all the attributes of a business, slip it in at the end of the table, the 7.1 table, the businesses are slipped in. We've given you also places, other places in Mauldin that are already zoned C2 or for this type of business. There are businesses like Brookside Swimming Pool. They're selling their business. And if I'm not mistaken, the business has already called them. So the detriment of what bringing this in with already the problems that we have in the neighborhood is what we are facing with. And the elected officials here are supposed to be focusing on the people and not the monies that the businesses will bring in. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but it looks that way. So I'm asking you all to not take this text amendment, these word changes that are basically bringing in business to a residential neighborhood and causing further detriment. And that's one of the words they want to take out of the OD, that it would cause anything that would cause detriment to the residents. I have a whole lot more to say, but I'm out of time.
Honorable Councilman, Mr. James Kennedy.
James Kennedy, 123 Meadowwood Drive in Mauldin. I would like to emphasize the fact that I'm in opposition to this amendment of OD of B2, and we want the OD office areas. I was probably about the first neighbor there in the neighborhood about 50 years now. And I just told you the last time when we upset something, something is coming in there that we don't like, we have to oppose it. And, you know, this is not good for the appearance of the neighborhood. And we have other factors that we have to deal with. We have to deal with the aesthetic surroundings of the neighborhood, the traffic congestion, also the property and depreciation of our houses because they are there and they have been there and they have been well kept. And I know that this will be a depreciation on them. Also, we want to make sure that we keep our property intact like it's supposed to be. And I don't think this will be a feasible thing to do at this time to upset the neighborhood. And to reiterate all the things that has been said, I won't go over them anymore, but I'm in opposition to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. All we had signed up. Next item on our agenda is the report from our city administrator, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So got things just flying around over. Okay. All right, just a couple items tonight. So first of all, so building a better Butler, SCDOT announced last week that they'll be letting the project this December and asked utility owners to start work along the project corridor. Building a better Butler will include various stormwater improvements along East Butler Road, resurfacing, intersection improvements, and a multi-purpose trail from City Center to City Park. SCDOT anticipates the project taking up to 24 months to complete. As construction nears, additional updates will be provided. As you can see, 276 is being resurfaced or in that process for several months now. SCDOT's contractor continues to work south towards the city and are around Dallas Road right now, still on the edge of the city of Greenville. We anticipate them being in our area in the next 30 days or so and taking about a month to get all the way through to 385. And they will be doing that work at night. And so we ask that the public be careful at night when traveling on 276 and just watch out for those construction crews. Next thing, a city with regards to Jenkins Street streetscaping project. The city has been patiently awaiting the relocation of a natural gas line along Highway 276 and Jenkins Street, which has delayed our contractor from completing stormwater connections as part of the Jenkins Street streetscaping project. Officials from Piedmont Natural Gas informed us that their work should begin this week and take approximately 5 days to complete. Work will be done in the evenings and at night. Once complete, Southern Concrete will upgrade the stormwater line that crosses 276 at Jenkins Street. We ask again the public for their patience and cooperation over the next few weeks when traveling along Highway 276 at night. And we anticipate that once the stormwater connections are complete, that the rest of Jenkins Street and Jenkins Court should be completed within 60 days or so. The next piece I just wanted to kind of mention is something that's coming out of the State House. Starting this September, South Carolina's hands-free law goes into effect on September 1st. It's just a couple of weeks away now. Under the new law, drivers may not hold or support their phone, text, or scroll while driving. The following is allowed, though, under the new law. Drivers may use hands-free technology such as Bluetooth, voice-activated commands, or dashboard integrated systems to make calls or send messages. Drivers may use a phone while lawfully parked. Drivers may call 911 to report an emergency or safety hazard. There is a grace period initially for 180 days. Law enforcement can only issue warnings. The grace period, however, does end on March 1st, 2026. And after that, the fines are as follows. First offense is $100 plus court fines, which is approximately $232. Second offense is $200 fine plus court cost, which is about $440 plus 2 points on your license. The majority of these fees do go to the state of South Carolina, so not us. So this is not our. We're not making money off this. No one is except for the state. Please help us reduce collisions by staying hands-free and staying focused on the road. And if you've been to our social media account, the PD's account, we've got a great video that tries to sell this message a little bit more. Just make sure folks stay hands-free come September 1st and avoid those warnings that are going to be coming. Thanks, sir.
Sir. Report from standing committees, Economic Planning and Development, Mr. Madden.
Just very quickly, and I'm surprised that the administrator didn't mention this, but we have SUI, the barbecue festival, coming up next month. It will be over by the time we have our next meeting. That will be Friday the 12th and Saturday the 13th. Is that the correct date? Awesome. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm here to take your crumbs. It's always a good time, always a great crowd, and just make sure you come hungry.
Safety, Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, the city administrator left me more than crumbs this month. So lots going on in public safety. I'd like to quickly share with you, but first and foremost, I would ask that each of y'all remember the family of Captain Philip Brown. There's a display up here in honor and in memory of him. He was one of our retired captains from our fire department, worked with the city for 30 years, retired in 2016, and he passed away about a week and a half ago or so. His service was yesterday. So again, if you would remember his wife, Barbara, and his children. Very kind man that not only city employees, but our community just thought the world of him. So our thoughts are with him, his family. All right. Now for some exciting stuff. I don't know if y'all came through the front door. You probably saw our new mobile command post vehicle that's now in service. Just a little snippet on that in case you didn't see it on the news. You can actually see it at 10 o'clock tonight on the news, but or on our social media page. So the Mauldin Police Department has added a new mobile command post vehicle to enhance its fleet, enhancing the department's ability to respond to critical incidents and providing support for special events and community engagement. The new vehicle will serve as a mobile headquarters for a variety of emergency and non-emergency situations, which it had not been on property for long, and I know it was already mobilized to help with a case with a, can I say, it was a lady with dementia, I believe. So it's already, hasn't been here long and is already being used. So the vehicle was built in Indiana and funded by a grant of $500,000 that the city received from South Carolina Department of Public Safety. Shout out to our local delegation, Representative David Vaughn, Representative Bruce Bannister, and Senator Ross Turner were instrumental in assisting us with getting this grant so that we could have this mobile unit in our city. Lastly, due to rain, our National Night Out was rescheduled, and that's coming up September 20th, which is a Saturday. I checked the football schedule. I don't think any of our teams, the Orange or the Garnet, will be playing at home that weekend. Don't know about Clemson. I know Carolina's not at home. So as always, this year's event will feature free food and beverage, music, dance performances. A K-9 demonstration was always is one of my favorites. Our fire trucks and police vehicles will be on display along with a variety of children's activities. So mark your calendars for September 20th. Bring the kids and the grandkids. It's always a great event for our city. Thank you.
One note that I couldn't let go. Furman University also plays football. It's just a little dig between her and I. It's a little humor.
He's correct. I'll be at the capital city.
Public Works. Halen.
I believe on the way to work, I saw a couple leaves fall as a reminder, we will be getting, it's going to be fall coming up, and Public Works will be picking up those leaves. Please look at your, on the city website for schedule, for times when it should be picked up. You see the truck there, sometimes they get out early, they pick up things, but the schedule, they will follow. So keep that in mind, and let's make sure we get the leaves out on time. Thank you.
Finance and Policy, Mr. Reynolds.
I have nothing to report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Recreation, Mr. Allgood.
Thank you, Mayor. Recreation had a football jamboree this past weekend. Simpsonville, Fountain, Mauldin, Greer, and Southside Christian. I understand the gentleman to my right was there coaching. Hopefully he acted appropriately. Always. But it was a good time by all, and it was very well attended from what I hear. That's all I have, Mayor.
Business and Development Services, Mr. Steenbeck.
Nothing to report at this time.
Save your energy.
Yes, sir.
Anything else on the agenda? All right. First item under 7, unfinished business, will be an ordinance on second reading. Ms. Miller.
We have one ordinance for second reading tonight. It's an ordinance to adopt section 614, keeping live chickens, to the animal control ordinance.
Live chicken. Mr. Steenbeck.
Yes, sir. My favorite subject. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt section 614, the keeping of live chickens, to chapter 6, animals of the Mauldin Code of Ordinance, as written and presented on second reading tonight.
Steenbeck, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Matney. I hate to ask this. Is there any comments?
I have one.
Mr. Reynolds.
He mentioned that his favorite subject was live chickens. I think it's actually fried chicken. He just misspoke. He's misreading. That's all I have.
Mauldin has been well known for fried chicken, tacos, and pizza stands. We're good with those. From my standpoint, when I read this, I'm like, our city has grown up. We're not a rural, urban city, town anymore. And honestly, chickens. But I read through it and I think David did a great job of handling all the different nuances. I didn't realize you were a farmer at heart, but obviously you know a lot about raising chickens, hens, no roosters. So all the buttons that I have been called on over the last not few years, since 2015, about the rooster that was in my neighborhood and it wasn't allowed and I needed to do something about it. And one thing I found out early on was we can't go on private property. So if you hid your rooster in the backyard, we wouldn't know about it unless it was crowing when the code enforcement guy was there. So this did bring all that into play and going to allow it. And I'm like, I can't support that. But then I got to remember what I ran on. And that's property rights. You have the right to do a lot of things with your property and not have government interfere with it. And I look at that a lot and try to remember, as Mr. Cralin said, I want to do no harm. So I'm gonna support it, but it's just because it's your yard, and if you follow these simple little rules, you can raise your chicken and collect your eggs. Any other comments? Mr. Matney.
Thank you, Mayor. And this, I don't know if this is a David question or a legal question, but yeah, this establishes the allowance for live chickens to be kept. We haven't had a prohibition before. So for those individuals who may already have roosters, are they grandfathered in? Is it natural attrition? Or what? How do we deal with those?
Don't believe the prior ownership of roosters is going to survive the adoption of the ordinance. They would not be grandfathered in.
So how would a rooster owner then relocate, rehome said rooster?
Got an axe.
That's beyond my expertise.
Mr. Deerhog, any? Oh, he's not here.
He's like,
Oh, there you are. You're on the front row.
this, this is a view.
That was called out.
That would be a matter we'll probably defer to the animal control officer on how he best judges to deal with that situation.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, but before you leave, if I may, was not the original orders did have a statement in there about roosters were not allowed?
The current ordinance has a statement in there under nuisance animals that mentions crowing, cackling, and some other similar words that basically, if it's making loud, repetitive noises, that it constitutes a nuisance and it's not allowed. So you would probably fall back on some of that current wording to chase out the rooster.
And that's under the, like the noise ordinance?
No, that's under the animal control ordinance. It's under the nuisance animal section.
Only roosters in my neighborhood, the family has moved and they took their rooster with them.
Hallelujah.
I'm gonna hate that I'm bringing this up. What about other animals like ducks? I do know people that keep ducks, and I hadn't thought about it till just now. Should this be chickens / fowl? We make an amendment to this. Just a thought. People do keep ducks.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So when we first introduced this as a concept with the committee, with the Business and Development Services Standing Committee, we did mention too that there are other what we call micro livestock that people like to keep. So the approach we have taken is to kind of ease into this and see how this goes, and then maybe we can talk about some other things.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to adopt as presented the ordinance regulating keeping chickens, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Okay, next item, ordinance first reading, Ms. Miller.
This item is under unfinished business, but it is an ordinance for first reading. It's an amendment to the Mauldin zoning ordinance, updating the standards and allowed uses in the OD zoning district.
Okay, Mr. Steambach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to amend the Mauldin zoning ordinance, updating the standards and allowed uses in the OD zoning district on first reading.
I have a motion from Mr. Steambach. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Matney. Any discussion? Ms. Grayling.
In this case, I was voted as a representative, and I will be voting on this amendment as a representative against my own personal beliefs. I am fearful that that what will go in there will be far worse to this community than what is being proposed. But that's what the community wants, and I will agree with them in this case. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Hogan.
Thank you, Mayor. So first off, I do have one question. Sorry, I do have one question, which is under section 723. It says this classification includes centers, clubs, gymnastics, and other establishments that feature exercise or other physical activity conditions, et cetera, et cetera. What are those classified as?
What page are you on?
I'm on page 29. Under 723, descriptions of institutional and social use. And it says that, correct. It says it excludes centers, clubs, gymnasiums, and other establishments featuring exercise, and it goes on. So my question is, where do those classify?
There is a separate category in the zoning ordinance in that chapter. I don't know if I'm going to pull it up quick enough to get the verbatim name of that, but it is essentially listed as fitness, sports clubs, and health centers, some similar type of verbiage that those exclusions fall into the category of.
So those exclusions, though, would be outside of the OD district.
Correct.
So more likely C2.
That's right. C2 and maybe like CRD and S1.
Okay. So my position on this particular item remains still the fact that we are talking about the OD district. And if we look at the map, which is on page 24, we do realize that there is not a lot of OD property inside the city of Mauldin. Having said that, it is, to me, when we think about something like this, the indoor swim, to me, that still constitutes more so a center, a club, a gymnasium of larger scale. It also is something that, and from what I can read and what I have found from other cities, it is more reflective of C2. Other municipalities have always put that into C2. If we were to look at such as the Goldfish Center, which is off of Haywood Road, which is in a retail strip, would also be C2. So for me, the OD district is supposed to be for professional, educational, service oriented. Yes, for things such as daycare, financial establishments, social assistance services, and other professional offices. And when you look at C2, that is more in alignment with the core intent of commercial districts, which have specific regulatory, environmental, and safety standards that you would not normally find in an OD district. So when we look at this, regardless of the swim school itself and regardless of Meadowbrook, we have to keep in mind that we're talking about adjusting the entire zoning for any property that would be OD. It's an overhaul for the entire district. So it is in my opinion that if we were to amend this and we were to amend it by looking at 7-1-5 and 7-2-3, which would basically be to eliminating the idea of that type of industry being part of OD, then this is something that I can support because this entire situation has brought forth a lot of other improvements that we needed to make in the OD district. We have now stricter regulations as a result of this entire issue. And I thank David and his team for doing everything in their power to make this a much more useful ordinance than we had previously. But if those things do remain, unfortunately, I cannot support this change to the OD district because to me it is again putting a square peg in a round hole. It's just not the proper zoning for the use. So that will be my position. I'm happy to make that amendment, but I will, before I do, I will just pause in case anyone else wants to comment beforehand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I may be in a little bit of a precarious situation here where I look and I agree with the OD amendment. I think it's the right choice. I think that David saw an opportunity to fix what I think was a mess in the OD district. So, as I look at it, I do believe all of these make sense, and I believe it makes sense for that property, which is the opposite of what I believe the neighborhood sees which is fine. That's why we're here. But as I look at that, one of the things that I've come back to is while I can support the change in the OD district zoning, the timing is important to me as well. So as I look at Planning Commission looking to do large things towards the end of the year, this coming out of Commission without full support, I look at it and say, okay, if this came out when we do our comprehensive stuff and this exact verbiage was there, I can support it. But I'm also trying to be sensitive to the timing of what's happening as well. So, and that's all I have to say unless we have some other comments that I'd like to hear as well.
Matt?
I just want to thank David and his staff for doing an incredible job and putting a lot of time and effort into this ordinance. As Mr. Allgood noted, it tightens up a lot of loose areas within the OD zoning ordinance, and it's never easy to go into a situation and try and make those changes. So, Mr. Deerhog, thank you very much for all your efforts.
Mr. Mayor. And I didn't say that, but I'd like to follow that up as well is where Mr. Deerhog's looking and I think trying to figure out the best course when you have a bad situation. This came up because OD looked like garbage and you don't really realize it. So the timing can be unfortunate though. And, having a property that's immediately affected, that immediately changes status of the surrounding area just makes it a little more tricky for me personally. Well, again, I can support the business. I think it probably is the right choice to Jason's point. I think it's probably the right choice for that area and for that property. However, timing is tricky for me.
I'll weigh in. First thing, the thing about the timing and waiting to the comprehensive plan, we've seen comprehensive plans since 2 or 3 times since I've been on council. They're written in such a way, they're broad-based. They're not specific. We can't look at that because if you look at a comprehensive plan, you can interpret anything you want to go anywhere you want it to go for the good of the city. So that's just the way it reads. So for me to kick the can down the road just for that is counterproductive. And I come from an IT background, logic, facts. And so I heard of the meetings and I've seen the comments and I've gone down there and I've looked. We have 6 or 7 pockets of OD that obviously were allowed. Maybe it shouldn't have been allowed when it was done, but it was done. David has taken a phenomenal task of trying to clean all that up and make it fit. Look at OD. I think Joy Real Estate is OD. She sits on East Butler Road with 7,000 cars a day. That was an old number. It's probably closer to 11,000 a day. So she has a problem getting in and out. So does our agents and so does our clients, but they make do kind of thing. So I asked staff, I said, tell me how many accidents have we had at the intersection of New Neely Ferry and Meadowbrook? 0 in the last couple of years. Meadowwood, 2, 0. So of all the reported incidents we have for stormwater issues, how many have been reported to Public Works that required an emergency call or answer that in the last couple of years? 0. So I brought a chart tonight to sit over there and you can see New Neely Ferry and then drop all the way down to the end of Meadowwood and you will see there's a 60-foot drop. We didn't create that mountain. That neighborhood was cut out of that hillside put in there. There's drainage ditches on the upper side and the lower side that feed into what is later Gilder Creek. So from that standpoint, New Harvest Ministry has been working on their retention pond. As far as I know, it is functional. There's still some erosion on the side closest to New Neely Ferry. And I think Pastor Carl was going to address that, but it does what it's supposed to do. Whether I like them or not, doesn't matter. It is a proven engineering technique to control stormwater. and its design and the standards, it only allows a release of the volume of water equal to what the land would have done prior to the retention pond. So eh, whether I like engineers or lawyers, they're right sometimes, and we have to follow those rules until we come up with something better. So from my logic standpoint, I don't see that. I've spent time parked there during different times of the day. Uh, the neighbors that are walking wave at me, and I wave at them, so we're good there. And say, how about getting in and out? It is not a blind curve. It has a line of sight to the left, to the right. I drive an Explorer, so maybe I sit a little higher than the Corollas that sit real low. But I can see the traffic and I can pull out. Is traffic increased in the city of Mauldin? Absolutely. There is no doubt about that. Been here since the 60s, and I wish that I had a clear crystal ball and I knew exactly what Mauldin was going to be 50 years later. None of us do. And our ordinances and our zonings have changed all the years that I've been here. They change, they get updated because new businesses come in and get started up and they're not allowed, and we have to go through that, and we try to move forward as we can. I'm not aware of anybody at this council level or at staff level has been told this is a money-making proposition for us. Hadn't seen that. So that argument was emotional, and I understand, but it's not true. So all that said, I do see where this swim school is a safety issue, and I think Aqua Angels just is put out text messages or emails the last few days to all of us, wanting us to come and support their adult swimming programs. This is a safety issue. I don't know if you follow the news much, that's real, but there's been drownings over the last couple of months. Right after summertime opened, there's a young kid that lost his life because he couldn't swim. So I see this as an admirable endeavor. I don't see the traffic volume loading anything up. The proposed entranceway I saw is less than 50 feet from New Neely Ferry. So it's not like they're going to go all the way down to the bottom and turn around in Miss Skelton's yard and come back out. That wouldn't make sense either. So I recommendation would be that we work, if this passes, that we work to see if they can tie into the speech therapy parking lot there. It's already open on Meadowwood, and see if we can not have to cut another curb cut. And a lot of that is based on things outside of our control. That's South Carolina DOT. It's a process. As you know, you just heard earlier, our East Butler Road project is going to be contract led in December of 2025. That's the right year, right? It was on the books since 2012. It was projected to be complete 2016. Here we are 9 years later and they hadn't started it yet. So that's DOT. And if I continue on this train of thought, I will have to go to church tonight before I go to bed. Because I have strong feelings about that, and we have to work with them because they're the only game in town for a lot of it. So I've had to learn to just make my peace and go on and not make it personal for that. So from that standpoint, and I heard the families, I did. 50 houses there, I understand. If it's 2 people to a house, that's 100 people, I understand. I've got 9,000 homes in the city of Mauldin. We've got nearly 30,000 people. We're called upon sometimes to kind of look forward and see how we move forward. And sometimes you have to make a decision for the macro level, the big level kind of thing, cleaning up OD with a few allowed uses and seeing that a educational swim school does fit when I look and see daycares, health cares. There were some other educational institutions in here too that were training, not the ones that are talking about Goals Club, gymnasiums or whatever type thing. So it does fit in my standpoint. I salute David for the great work. He did that. He did take all the a lot of the feedback you guys have brought forward, and he added that in there, the addition of dual fencing, the setbacks, all of that's in there. This came out of things that the neighborhood projected we needed to do. And, you know, if you want to build a home in there, it's fine. Guess what? It has to be rezoned to put a house in there. So this is not a rezoning. It's just a text amendment to existing, which is a living document, and it'll be here for a while and after I am gone too. That's enough of my preaching. Anyone else? Mr. Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did have one more comment. From a business perspective, a business trying to be a good neighbor, this swim school, I believe, is an example of trying to do that. Several public comments, lots of conversations. I think that's, I think just want to commend the business as a whole, the entrepreneurs as a whole, is that I think they were doing this the right way and trying to accommodate and be a good neighbor. So, and that's not, if whatever happens, and if it happens to be a new person at some point, likely that doesn't happen. I mean, that's not always how it is. So I think I'd just like to commend the owners on trying to be a good neighbor in this process.
Anyone else? Mr. Craven?
Just for the record, you're allowed to pick on lawyers, but not engineers. I just wanted to get that out. Also, your comment about the retention pond is correct. And on this, it'll probably slow down about twice as much as what is currently there. The stormwater, that's the way it's designed. It is proven science. That's how they work. And it would improve stormwater there, not significantly, but it would not make things any worse.
And would you be sure the minutes reflect that Mr. Craven said I was correct? Thank you. Anyone else? They're all good.
Thank you, Mayor. Just like to get clarification from our esteemed attorney who's here. Should this not pass, can any of it be reintroduced? The reason why I ask that is because obviously, as I stated earlier, I am happy to make an amendment, but my question is, should I just hold that and then we can revisit this, much in the way that Mr. Reynolds was discussing earlier about when we have the comprehensive plan, we have more of these things in place where we can take a closer look at overall zoning laws.
David, we have a 1-year waiting period on requesting the text amendment, or does that apply just for a rezoning?
I'm reading in our ordinance right now. It says when the city council shall have denied a request for an amendment, it shall not consider the same reclassification for an amendment affecting the same property until 1 year from the date of the previous denial. So that would seem to pertain just to rezoning a property.
So
That's rezoning a property, which in this case, we're talking about changing the.
For a text amendment, this does not seem to apply, so a new text amendment could be proposed in any time frame.
Thank you.
Okay, this was denied by the Planning Commission. So before us tonight, for us to approve it, it would take a supermajority. For us, that's 5 positive votes because the motion was to accept as submitted the text amendment. So with that being said, I'll ask Ms. Miller if she will do a roll call vote to be sure we get it correct.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
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 Aye. Got 4-3. The 4-3 is not a supermajority, so the motion fails. Okay. Next item, Ms. Miller.
We have several ordinances for first reading, and the first one is an ordinance to rezone a 2-acre tract located at 1123 East Butler Road from the S1 district to the C2 district and providing an effective date.
To Mr. Steenbeck, back to you.
Mayor, I'm trying to catch up, so I'll make sure I say it right. Oh, thank you. I'm on my on the electronic copy, sorry. Mayor, I make a motion, that we rezone a 2-acre tract located at 1123 East Butler Road, from the S1 district to C2 district, providing an effective date.
Okay, I have a motion, Mr. Steenbeck, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Matney. Any discussion? Mr. Allgood.
Thank you. I believe during public comment, we found out that the representatives from the bank were here. And my question that I had at, when we had this during committees, which was the plan here to open up a second location or relocate from the existing location? I don't know if they are able and willing to address that.
Okay, Mr. White, will you want to address that, or Ms.?
Good evening. I'm Jamie Mendelson with First Citizens Bank. I'm construction project manager for the company. It could be up to 2.5 years, I guess, before we could get this facility up and running and open. We have a lot of detail in our construction, has to be worked out. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 2.5 years with the market or the area or anything else. But our official statement is this will be a new expanded branch concept. It'll be designed to enhance the services for this community. And we regularly assess and optimize our portfolio, and our commitment to the Mauldin market remains steadfast. And we look forward to strengthening our presence in this market and continuing our valued partnership with the city.
Get an answer.
I have no other further questions.
Sir? Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to rezone the 2-acre tract at 1123 East Butler Road, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Miller.
Next item for second reading, or excuse me, first reading, is an ordinance to amend section 1034, I give up. Bar, brew pub, or drinking place of the Mauldin zoning ordinance to clarify the application of the separation requirement between such businesses and residences.
Have you already been visiting these to see? I believe it's back to you, Mr. Steenbeck.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The mayor and me show tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend the ordinance in section 1034, a bar, brew pub, and drinking places of Mauldin zoning ordinance to clarify the application of the separation requirement between such businesses and the residents.
Thank you, Mr. Steenbeck. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Matney. Is there any discussion?
I can. We've already dealt with this to a certain extent, Mayor. We dealt with this a couple of months ago as it related to off-premises consumption. This is for on-premises consumption, and would just put it in line with what we've already done.
Oh, okay, good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to add to Mr. Matney's point that this is pretty much just cleaning house again and putting the consideration for the state law into place as we did before. So a place cannot be licensed by Department of Revenue unless they have these standards in place. So the City of Mauldin is doing the same with our standards, just being in line with the state of South Carolina.
All right, anything else? And then all those in favor of the motion to adopt the amendment to this ordinance for on-premise drinking establishments, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Ms. Miller,
Final ordinance for first reading is an ordinance amending the business license ordinance of the City of Mauldin to update the class schedule as required by Act 176 of 2020.
back to you, Mr. Stamen.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion of amending the ordinance of the business license ordinance of the city of Malden to update the class schedule as required by Act 176 of 2020. This is on first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Steenbeck. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Allgood. Any discussion? Again, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on first reading to amend or adopt the amended Business License Standardization Act by the state law 176, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Miller, don't want to slight you.
There's two items under standing committees. The first one is the School Resource Officer Agreement with Greenville County.
Mr. Steenbeck, you can stand down. Ms. King, you're up.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion at this time for the approval of an agreement for school resource officers with Greenville County for the school year of 2025 to 2026 and beyond.
Ms. King, have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second with Mr. Kraling. Any discussion? Ms. King.
Just real quick for those in the audience that may not know, I always like to point out that the City of Mauldin has school resource officers in all of our public schools. That's something that this council and councils of past have really, that was a goal that we wanted. We had at one time 2 elementary schools that shared a resource officer that went back and forth. So that's just a point that we like to brag on because of, you know, the size of our community, our schools, and it's just a win-win for everyone.
Thank you, Ms. King. Anyone else? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in motion to approve the amendment, the agreement for a school resource officer Greenville County for school year 25-26, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Back to you, Ms. Miller.
Last item is the FY 2025 preliminary year-end summary memo.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. I have Mr. Reynolds, a new player.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome to the show. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the preliminary surplus projection and expenditure plan in your packet. And I can give some breakdowns during discussion.
Mr. Reynolds, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Kraling. Any discussion? Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the surplus from FY 2025. The city did well, but from a budgeting standpoint, especially an expenditure standpoint, as well as a revenue standpoint. And, you know, it's kind of the opposite when you're doing the budget. You want to be on the low side, especially on revenue. And if it comes in better, that makes you look really good. And that's what happened here. So this is a standard thing we do every year. If there is a surplus, and this is just taking the opportunity to allocate, to let staff know how the city leaders would like to allocate those extra funds. So that said, the breakdown is in your packet. We're looking at potentially $2 million to capital projects transportation fund, $1 million to capital projects funds for future projects and equipment, $500,000 for a branding initiative, $250,000 for City Hall full facility generator and interior improvements. This was not really realized that it was needed until a recent occurrence sometime last year that we realized that we were woefully underprepared at City Hall for that. So again, this is something we're trying to learn from where we're at and what the city can do to advance in future situations. Last one's going to be $250,000 to general fund contribution. That'll be any excess past what we're generally thinking would go to that as well. So that would be the only number that would potentially change a little bit. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
I think it's fantastic. Did a great job. And we have this additional funding for capital projects. Remind everybody about some stormwater issues that we have in the city. I'd like to see some of this go towards that. Thank
just a word of appreciation to our city administrator and our finance officer in the back. Tremendous job putting up with us when we want to do this and we want to do that. And you say, you ain't got the money. So we do. So thank you, Holly, for a great job in leading us throughout the year and keeping the reins tight until you know that you got it in the bank. So we do appreciate that. And that's reflected in our reputation with our credit ratings and everything else. So thank you for great leadership on the budget we've come out of and the one we're going into.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Reynolds.
I'm going to take it a step further. That I think that you don't have this kind of success without going past your city administrator and finance director. This is all the way through the department heads as well. You didn't mention them, but I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there as well. I know you meant to.
Oh, yeah.
Department heads down to supervisors. It takes that kind of effort from top to bottom to create the opportunity that this city will now have. So,
Yeah.
thank
I
you.
was thinking of some of them, but some of them might have left out.
On purpose, I'm sure. I understand.
Love you, Matthew. No other comments? All those in favor of the motion to adopt the surplus projections and expenditure recommendations, say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Next item before us is public comment on non-agenda items. Don't have anyone left on the list that signed up, so we'll go to council concerns. Any council concern? Mr. Matney.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to bring up another passing. The son-in-law of L.S. Green, John Mitchell, recently passed away. His service will be this coming Saturday at Mauldin Methodist, and just keep Betty in your prayers.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad. Remember that. It slipped my mind. Good. Anything else?
Mr. Mayor,
Thought you'd wore you out.
you-
Mr. Steamback.
I got a little left in me. I just wanted, as Frank mentioned, I was at the Jamboree on Saturday, and I just wanted to commend the rec staff. They really made wonderful mud pies out of mud on Saturday. I don't know how many inches of rain were down in there, but it was quite a mess, and they worked their tails off. Bart and everybody out there working together. It was really cool to see what they did. They were able to pull it off in very adverse circumstances. And so I wanted to publicly acknowledge that hard work. That was awesome. So I appreciate them. And I did get to experience watching a 8-year-old take a mud bath to the point where there was mud dripping down him inside his helmet. It was awesome.
It's a blast to watch. Anything else? Next, only item before us now is adjournment. What's the pleasure of council?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Steenback, Mr. Clayton, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:21.